I'm a bit cold too. I have a blanket here. Yay. Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. But basically today I'm going to talk about telling people that I had an eating disorder and basically how you find your support. Whether you have an eating disorder or something else, or just have nothing diagnosed but you're just a normal human who feels, which is everyone. I think it's really important to find a support. The main people that I told were family, but I obviously kept it in for so long, and I think it's really important that, again, as I was saying in my last video, you just feel your feelings. I think there's two types of support. You've got your professional support if you need the professional support, and then you have the support that everyone needs basically. So I'm going to start with the professional professional support, because I think that's really important if you need it. I definitely wouldn't be getting through anything without professional support. I would have no clue where to start, and I probably would never have admitted that something was wrong. When I had the panic attack at work, one of my bosses, his partner was a doctor, and I had met her before, and so I saw her just speaking about that. Then, as I said in my last video, I then went to a therapist, didn't really get much out of it, stopped for a while, but then she contacted me again when corona, more of the quarantine stuff was happening in Melbourne. Once I clicked with my therapist, it was I'm set, and then obviously I had to get a dietitian, and there was also another doctor that's closer to me that if I need more physical examination stuff, then I can go to them. And both of them, I had no idea, especially the dietitian, I had no idea where to start, where to look. Both of the doctor that's closer to my house and the dietitian, my therapist recommended to me. So because I trusted my therapist, I then trusted anyone that she recommended. Feel like I have a good team, professional support team. Then comes the personal support. Once I found out about everything, I was so nervous. I still didn't want to tell anyone, my family or anything. I mean, it's always been my thing, but at that it was kind of oh great, well now it's been diagnosed and now I feel like it's a bad thing, and I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, and all of these things were going on in my mind. I had a therapy session where we talked about all the different things that my eating disorder restricted me from. Socializing and people were a main part of that, and especially a main part of that for me. I'm very good at distancing myself from people. This is gonna look really weird for you, but this is my life. I like blankets and I'm always cold, so I told my dad and Kim when I had the panic attack. It took a little bit after the panic attack for me to actually tell them, and they were kind of asking why I was working less and why things at work had changed for me. And so they were asking me stuff. I was like, you want to know why it happened so suddenly, don't you? And so I told them. I then told them that I was seeing a doctor, but I never told them about going to therapy because I just didn't want to make a big deal out of it. When the coronavirus happened and I was getting the blood tests, obviously my dad drove me to get the blood tests. Didn't have anything to do with mental health at that point, so I was freely talking to them about it, just kind of being so my iron's low, and they want to do another blood test to check some other stuff. When I went to go and see my therapist, I then told them that I was going to go to therapy. They obviously had seen my mood gone down a lot, and they knew about the panic attack and stuff, but I never told them anything about the therapy. So that's kind of the first thing that they knew. The first person that actually found out about my eating disorder, they don't know that they were the first. It was a friend, and they could tell that something was on my mind, and we were talking one night and they were like, come on, just get it off of your mind, blah blah blah. So I briefly told them, and then had my usual freak out where I didn't reply to them, went that night, went to bed, and then we didn't talk for a while, and then my birthday came up. They said happy birthday to me, then we got talking again, and they I just have to thank them so much. You know who you are. Usually when I have my freak out and distance myself, no one really comes back to try and get me to open up more or anything like that, and they did. Thank you for giving to open me up. That didn't even make sense. Thank you for making me open up. The main people that were kind of in my life mainly now are family, and they were the ones that I kind of needed to tell, it was weird. I wanted to tell them but didn't want to as well. Like I wanted to keep it my thing. My dad and Kim came to a therapy session for me, so my therapist helped me tell both of them, which was the most awkward hour or whatever that I've ever had, but it turned out to be alright. And it was a little bit weird afterwards trying to, for me, make sure that they weren't gonna change and check up on me so much. I think they did a little bit in like the first week or two, but they're fine now. The next people that I told were my brothers. The main motivation was I wanted to give them an explanation as to why I was in my room so much and seemed I mean they said it a lot before I told them, but I was like in my room a lot, didn't want to speak to people, very unsocial, which I am, but they were like, you're really lazy and blah blah blah, and I just wanted to give them an explanation as to why I was in my room so much and why I seemed so lazy, I guess. I mean, laziness might be a part of it, but I think it was more lack of motivation, depression side of it, but I didn't want to tell them that. There were so many times where I was like, oh my gosh, I could tell them right now, and I was going to tell them like one-on-one, and there were so many thoughts going through my head, and I was in Joshua's room playing a game, and Jordan had come in as well, and they were all there, and I was like, you know what, Chelsea, just do it. I had talked to my therapist that day or the day before or something, and we talked about it, and I was supposed to tell them like before that appointment. So I had like 2 weeks to tell them, but I didn't. So I just did it. One thing that was very common with everyone I told, except for my friend, was that they weren't surprised, which kind of was like, what? Like you knew kind of thing, but they didn't know. I think because when I was younger, I had got really thin as well. Then I've always had like weird eating habits and stuff like that. So I guess they would have seen a bit, but yeah, they weren't surprised. That was kind of a weight lifted off. I didn't have to then focus on trying to recover while hiding it from people. I could just focus on recovering and doing the meal plans and that sort of stuff. So that really helped. Another 2 weeks went, and I had another therapist appointment. Basically we were talking about just biting the bullet and telling the rest of my family. We spoke about having Jordan there with me because I was really scared at what their reactions were going to be. I was overthinking it a lot more. Like, their reactions were what I thought, but just 10 times less. It was a bit extra different because I had to tell them over FaceTime. So I then told my mum, called her, and then we brought Nana into the call, told Nana and Granddad. Once they were told, I then went back to my room and told my sister. She was the one person that I felt relieved after I told her. I was very nervous. She was actually really good about it, and I spoke to her more about more of the mental health side of things as well, not just like, hey, I have an eating disorder, because she wanted to know, and she was just like, look, as long as you're like getting better, and if you need anything, like it was really good. Like I was nervous to tell her, but I'm glad I got to tell her. The last person that I told was my godmother. I actually wasn't nervous to tell her. I really wanted to tell her. The only thing I was nervous about was that it was over FaceTime. I really wanted to tell her in person, but obviously then we went into like stage 4 in Melbourne and stuff, and borders were closing, and it's like I also asked her about like helping me spiritual, like religious wise. I always believed in God, but we didn't really do much with that. She'd be the person I'd like that would teach me about those sorts of things, but I guess I've never really talked about it because I've never really delved into it. I have a lot of questions. I just want to know more, I guess. So she was really good to tell because she had another perspective on it, and she's helping me that way. I have a fear of other people judging me. And I think society in general sometimes get freaked out by if someone says they believe in God. But she's kind of helping me see that if people are so freaked out if you say that, then they're probably not the best person to be in your life, kind of thing. That was me going through telling people. As I said, if it's something like as massive as you've kept it for 6 years and it's a disorder where you need professional help and stuff, it's definitely very awkward to tell people. And you're going to talk yourself out of telling people for multiple reasons. I think the best thing to do is just bite the bullet and tell the people that you need. In terms of if you don't have like a disorder, you don't need professional help, if you're just kind of feeling things, then I still think that you should find your support. Obviously it can be family. With this, I think I needed to tell my family because the fact that I was hiding it was keeping the disorder alive even more, I guess, if that makes sense. I recommend just finding the 1 or 2 people that you feel comfortable talking to, that even if nothing is going on and you've just had a down day where you haven't gotten as much done as you planned to, and you're just kind of like, I just feel sluggish today. Like, it's good to just be able to call someone up or go visit someone and be like, you know, I just felt sluggish today and I don't know why, or maybe it's because of this, or yeah, I just think it's really good to feel your feelings and to talk about them. And a big part of that is to find the person that you can talk to and find your support, or even the people that you might go to different people for different things. I think that's really important, so that if you are going through something, or if you do go through something, you know that you're not in it alone. So if you guys are going through something and you feel like you don't have that support, if you're going through something very similar to me, definitely DM me on Instagram or anything like that, and I can help you out as much as I can. You can probably help me out a bit. If you just want to know some more things, again, comment some questions down below. If you want a friend to talk to, I am here if you like. Let me know if you guys want to know any particular things for future videos. I will see you guys in my next video. Okay. Bye. Oh, and stay warm. I know spring's coming, but I'm really cold right now, so get a fluffy blanket and just stay warm.